Welcome back everyone to a video, and today we're going over my week 1 picks for the first week of the 2024 NFL season. We have some really good matchups to go over. Definitely a fair share of upset picks, at least for me this week. So we're just going to jump right into it, but before we do, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're new around here. I think a lot of you guys might not even know you're not subscribed. I think around 95 or 96% of you guys that watch my videos are actually not subscribed. So make sure to do that. It takes just a second. It's free. It really helps me out, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, closing in on 700. But to get right into the games, now first off is the Thursday night game between the Ravens and the Chiefs. Now that's going to be played in Kansas City. I'm actually going to go with the Ravens in this game for one of my upset picks. Now I think this game is going to be really close. I think the official spread is 3 points. I think the Chiefs are favored by about 3 points. Last year, the Chiefs did come out a little bit slower out the gate, although to be fair, they also didn't have Travis Kelce healthy then. But regardless, I do think the Ravens are going to go out, get a good statement win, not by a lot. To be honest, I think they might win by less than 3 points, to be honest, I guess on the Ravens side. But regardless, I do have an upset pick there for the Ravens to win that. But I will say that is one of probably about 3 or 4 games this week that I could see literally going either way. And then next is the Packers and the Eagles. And now this is another one. I'm actually going to go with the Packers here. And just for the record, for all my Eagles fans out there, I am very high on the Eagles this year. So I don't want to hear anything about me disrespecting the Eagles. I literally have Jalen Hurts as my dark horse to win MVP this year. I've been very high on the Eagles all offseason. For me, it really just comes down to who plays better, and that sounds really stupid, but it's an international game. I mean, I don't think there's really ever been a game played in South America. It's the first week. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains. Like, there's going to be a lot of kind of things to work out on for both teams. I think it's just going to be whoever plays a cleaner game is probably going to win this. I'm not expecting this to be the most polished game in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if it was relatively low scoring. I think it will be competitive, but I think in a very new environment, both teams basically on the road for the first game of the season, this one might not be as exciting as you would think, at least in my opinion, which is why I kind of said just the team that's going to kind of play better, kind of claw their way through this one will get the win. And I actually had that going to the Packers. I love the Packers offense. A lot of really good young weapons there. You add Josh Jacobs, and I really think that that's not being kind of, I guess, out there as much as I think it should be. Jacobs is a great running back who just wasn't at a great spot in Las Vegas. But on the other hand, though, Eagles, you add Saquon Barkley to that offense. Defense, you draft Quinton Mitchell, and you also draft Cooper DeJean. I don't know if DeJean is healthy and going to be playing. But regardless, it should be a very close game, just maybe not the most exciting, high-scoring game in the world. I had the Packers in that one. Next is going to be the Bills, and I'm going to have them over the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals' offense is going to be great this year, but not defensively. I think they're going to have a really rough time stopping some of those super high-powered offenses. And I think the Bills are one of those relatively high-powered offenses. So I had the Bills not over the Cardinals. I think that one could be, honestly, that's probably like the opposite of the Packers and Eagles game that I'm envisioning. I think it's going to be a ton of offense in that Bills and Cardinals game, whereas I think that Packers and Eagles game might be a little bit more defensive kind of minded and just kind of slower. But yeah, Bills over the Cardinals in that one. Next is the Bengals and Patriots. I'm going the Bengals here. Patriots are, in my opinion, going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. It sounds like Ja'Marr Chase is going to be playing for the Bengals. That's even an even bigger boost. Patriots have a very poor offensive line. I think you can get to Brissett. You can make them panic. You can force the turnovers. And I think the Bengals offense is going to be quite hard to stop for the Patriots. So I have the Bengals in that one. Next is the Panthers and the Saints. And I'm going to be honest. Oh, also real quick as well. At the end, I am going to have a different graphic on the screen. It will very clearly show like my picks for each team in case you've forgot already for one of my games. I'll have it very clear at the end of the video. But Panthers and Saints, I'm going the optimistic fan route. I'm a big Panthers fan. I'm going to pick them. Might be a little biased. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely a game where you can take the Saints. I'm banking on the Panthers offense being much improved. But at the same time, the Saints have a solid defense. For me, it's that Saints offense. I'm not a believer in Derek Carr. I think this will be another very low-scoring game where the team that just kind of edged out the other one will get the win, but it's not going to be pretty probably for either team. If you are betting on any of these games, stay away from that one. I would really not go anywhere near that Panthers and Saints game. For the Falcons and the Saints, though, I do actually have, did I say Falcons and Saints? For the Falcons and the Steelers, though, I do have the Falcons in that one. I think the Falcons offense is going to be really, really good. Steelers defense does match up well. It is a great defense, but I'm not really sold on that Russell Wilson-led Steelers offense quite yet. So I have the Falcons winning this. The Falcons defense isn't even that bad either. And I'm very high on the Falcons this year. Unfortunately, I don't like the Falcons, but I think they're going to be quite good. I have them beating the Steelers in week 1 there. Next is the Bears and the Titans. I do have the Bears winning that. The Caleb Williams debut, one of the more anticipated games, I think, for week 1. I have the Bears winning that. I think the offense is going to look great. The Bears defense, I think it's a bit underrated as well. Bit weak on the D-line, but I think good secondary. I think it matches up well to the Titans offense. I think the Titans are a team that could surprise some people, but I don't think they'll be in a good rhythm right out the gate for the start of the season. So I have the Bears winning that when they're in Chicago. Next is the Texans and the Colts. Now, this is one that I actually originally picked the Colts to win in an upset, I think like a month ago, or probably longer at this point. I have since switched that, though. I'm taking the Texans right now. I'm just not ready to bet a week 1 upset for the Colts over a really good team because I haven't seen enough of Anthony Richardson. Now, I've said before, I've been on the record saying I'm a believer in him. I think he'll be great. But out of a very small sample size, predicting a win over a very good team like the Texans in week 1, I think is a bit too much for me. So I'm going with the Texans there, beating the Colts in Indianapolis. Next is the Dolphins and Jaguars. I think it's going to be a good game, but quite frankly, I think the Dolphins are the better team. I think it's going to be very tough in that Jaguars secondary. I do think the Jaguars are going to have a good year. I think both teams will, to be honest, but I do think the Dolphins are just the better team this week, and I'm picking them over the Jaguars. Next is the Vikings and the Giants. This is a close one. I think it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic from both of these teams regarding their quarterback, because on the one hand, the Vikings offense has a very high ceiling, but the question mark being Sam Darnold. What will he actually do? Is he going to unlock the potential? That is, Justin Jefferson, one of the best in the entire league. Can he help Jefferson play his best, or is he going to hold the team back? And on the Giants side, can Daniel Jones help Malik Neighbors be as good as he can be as a rookie? I don't really know. I'm more confident in the Vikings as a team overall. I think the Giants defense is good. I think that D-line will definitely disrupt what Sam Darnold wants to do. But ultimately, I don't think the Giants will be able to move the ball. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. I got to go Vikings right there. Next is the Raiders and the Chargers. I was actually surprised. I believe as of right now, the Chargers are favored by 3 points. I'm actually going to pick the Raiders in that game. I think the Raiders are a bit of an underrated team this year. They definitely have some question marks. They have some question marks in the secondary, at quarterback, but you have a lot of really nice players in this team as well. On defense, you got guys like Max Crosby on the D-line. You bring in Christian Wilkins from Miami for defensive tackles, so you have a very solid defensive line. Offensively, you have great weapons like Devontae Adams, Jakobi Meyers, Trey Tucker, Brock Bowers. You have a really, really good receiving cast. Again, it depends on Gardner Minshew. Herbert's obviously the better quarterback, but has much less to work with. I'm going with the Raiders in that one. Next is the Broncos and the Seahawks. I'm going to pick the Seahawks there. I think Bo Nix can be a good quarterback. I don't know how good in year 1. I think he can be decent. But week 1, first game starting in Seattle, big divisional game. Not divisional game, I lied. In Seattle, I think it's going to be very rough on the rookie quarterback. Seattle's going to be very loud. They're a very solid team at that. I think it's going to be a rough one there for Bo Nix. Seahawks in that one. Next are the Browns and the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a very good game, and this could really go either way. This is one of those games I said earlier I could see it going really either way. I'm going to go with the Browns. They are home. They are there in Cleveland. A huge thing for me that's really held me back from the Cowboys all offseason is that running back room. It is terrible. You have Dalvin Cook and Zeke and Rico Dowdle. That's just not going to cut it. It's really Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb against the world on offense. You got great, compliments to CeeDee Lamb like Jake Ferguson and Brandon Cooks, but CeeDee is really the guy on that offense because there is no running back room. On the Browns side, though, one of the best, if not the best defense in the entire NFL. I think you can really get some stops on Dak, and I think the Browns offense can eventually wear down that Cowboys defense. But again, that depends a lot on Deshaun Watson, and I'm not very high on Deshaun Watson, so maybe the Cowboys win this one. To be honest, again, if you're going to be betting, I would stay away from the Cowboys and Browns game. That is one that I think can really go either way. I'm picking the Browns if I really had to choose, but that is a very tough one to pick for me. Next is the Buccaneers and the Commanders. Now, in this one, I actually picked the Buccaneers to win this. I think the Buccaneers are a very solid team. I think Washington's going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, but I think the offense will be exciting. I'm actually going to switch that from what I thought, just a month or so ago. I'm picking the Commanders in an upset over the Buccaneers. I think the test is going to be that Washington defense. If the Washington defense can get some stops, slow down Mike Evans, slow down Baker Mayfield, slow down Rachaad White, slow down Chris Godwin, it's a tall task, but it's not impossible. And that Washington offense, I think, is going to be pretty good. You have a really nice kind of RPO scheme there with Jaden Daniels. I'm excited to see what he can do. You got Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin. You have some talent on this roster. The Commanders could surprise some people. Again, I don't think it's going to amount to a lot of wins, but I think they're going to compete in more games than people might realize. I'm picking them week 1 upset there in Tampa Bay. Next is a Sunday night football game, the Lions and the Rams. I'm picking the Lions in this one. I think this will be a very offensive-heavy game. I think it'll be very exciting. Ultimately, though, I just think the Lions are the better team. I think they will string more stops together than the Rams defense will down the stretch. I think that's how you can really win this game. You have the better defense. It has to show. If it doesn't, then this could be, maybe an upset. But I think the Lions defense will get enough stops. I think the Lions offense will be very hard for the Rams to stop. And that'll really be the story of this game. I had the Lions winning that one. The final game of the week is the Jets and the 49ers. I almost went Jets upset, but I got to go to the 49ers. This is one of, if not the best team in the NFL right now. Absolutely loaded roster. It's not out of the question for the Jets to upset here. But week 1 on the road against the Super Bowl runner-ups with a quarterback that is 40 years old coming from an Achilles tear. I'm not loving the odds. I'm not saying it's impossible. Rodgers is definitely not just some other quarterback. He's an all-time great. But I can't get behind that with full confidence. I got to go with the better team, which is the 49ers, at least in my opinion, as of right now. So to go back over this, have all my wins up on the screen. We have plenty of upsets this week. We have a Washington upset, a Carolina upset, a Green Bay upset. I think it's going to be a really exciting week. So let me know down below what you guys think is going to happen in week 1. I do have my record right there. Obviously, the first week we're 0-0, but we will be keeping track all season long. So, we'll see if we can have a pretty solid record. I would love to be at least 75% by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. Last year's a bit tricky to pick some games. A lot went down as far as injuries affecting a lot of teams' ceilings and potential and stuff. So hopefully this season we'll have a very close to injury-free as possible season you could have. Very excited. Let me know down below who your guys' favorite team is, what you think they're going to do in week 1, or what you disagree with or agree with from my picks. Thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.